Hello, good friends of Renew. Thanks for tuning in. I'm always getting to like this these little office dialogues here, talking to the camera. It's kind of fun. I appreciate you sharing in the fun. Hope that once in a while it blesses you for one reason or another. I wasn't going to get into this because it's a little philosophically dense, but and so I'll warn you ahead of time. This is one of those kind of more philosophically dense talks. And some people get jazzed on that, some people don't. So if you really get turned off by it, you feel free to turn me out right now. But it might just be worth listening to. So here's the thing. A couple video blogs ago, I talked about how I raised this objection to free will, that it's either caused or it's uncaused. And if it's caused, how can it be free? Because, well, then it's caused. And if it's not caused, well, then how can it be a free decision? Because, well, then it's capricious if it's no cause whatsoever. And I then responded by saying that there's no reason to assume that it's a universal metaphysical principle that there can only be one effect for one cause. And that if we're thinking in terms of aesthetics, and many philosophers argue that that is a metaphysical category, then you can understand how you can have one cause and have any number of effects. And that's kind of confirmed now in the standard interpretation of quantum physics. That for every cause, you have effects which are rendered retroactively intelligible because of that cause, but they're not rendered futuristically predictable because of that cause, all right? And so I use that as a model for understanding free will. So I'm going to add something to that now that I wasn't going to get into, but I think it'd be kind of fun. Here's the thing. To say, to ask what caused a free agent to make a decision. You make a decision and someone says, hey, what caused you to do that? Well, that already presupposes that the agent making that decision is reducible to more fundamental realities. That's what we do when we analyze things. We break it apart looking for the more fundamental units that compose it, and we assume that if we get to those more fundamental units, then we will have explained that more complex reality. So to say what caused you to make that decision is to already assume that the agent is not herself the most fundamental unit. But what if, in fact, agents were themselves the most fundamental reality, that you couldn't break them down further? What if the soul was an irreducible reality? In fact, if you hold to free will, the agents have free will, I think you have to hold that the soul is the most fundamental reality. And that means then this, that agents just are the kind of beings who can originate lines of causation. We can create lines of causation. You can account for, you can show all sorts of influences and desires and motives and conditions and genes or psychological makeup and all that influence the agent and help explain the agent's decision and influence that agent's decision. But if the agent is free, they don't exhaustively explain it. That every decision, to some degree, transcends the antecedent influences and causes that were present. That's what it is to have free will. You, to some degree, however slight, you transcend the antecedent causes. And see, this is why I like thinking about these things in terms of aesthetics, because aesthetics is about creativity, right? And if this is true, then every decision a free agent makes is an act of creation. You bring into being something that wasn't there before, and something that's not necessitated by what was there before. If we're free, then when we choose something, we are bringing a new fact into being. We are creators. Now, if you think that that's an unintelligible concept, think again, because we say that about God all the time. God is free and God creates. I'm just saying that since we're made in the image of God, maybe we are little versions of that. Of course, we don't create ex nihilo the way God does, but there's something parallel to God's free will in us that we do in fact create. This is something that's called agent causation. We just are the kinds of beings who, in the light of all the factors that influence us, the motives, conditions, all that, we have the capacity to then, among the options that those factors bring to us, we choose which one to actualize. And that decision can't be reduced any further. Think about it, chew on it, and go out and make good choices. Create, bless people, love people. Have a great day. Bye.